Most of my rock throwing, though, as a kid, took place in the direction of nerds like you. I was usually putting out eyes.
Yeah, he only says that because we were talking about board games. And I said, when I was growing up, and I know we've talked about this on the air before, I used to collect Monopoly board games.
So I stop him, and I'm like, whoa. But here's the deal. And then I just quit talking. I said, no, we're going to do this on the air. Because I don't want you to.
Well, I collected a ton of different variety of Monopoly games. There was, of course, like New York Monopoly and WVU Monopoly. And there was even there was all kinds of shows, X-Men and Captain Planet and Star Trek and Star Wars, and there was Coke, and Pepsi had their own.
There was Coke.
Well, Coca-Cola Monopoly.
Yes.
I have a ton of them. I mean, I've probably got like 30 or 35 different Monopoly board games, all still shrink wrapped in their original wrapping. I've never opened them, and because they're collector's editions. All right. Now,
and you were a collector.
I was a collector.
So it was a match made in heaven.
I was a collector of varied Monopoly theme games.
Wow.
All right. Now, Lee decides that it's appropriate to say, listen, see,
that's the funny thing. Like, every time I see a capital letter indicating the beginning of a sentence, I say I 30 times. It's so weird. It's so hard for me to even get through an email. Like when my mom sends it to me,
I used to think
how you doing?
I used to think you were so cool. But the more I get to know you, the less cool you are.
Wow.
So you make it sound better than it really was. What I actually said was, I was like, man, the first time I met you, I was like, wow, this dude is pretty cool. I mean, he's got his radio show and 15 or 20 listeners, and he's got all of the stuff that he does here. He's got a certain element of swag about him. He's got that radio voice.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this guy's pretty cool.
Hey, pretty cool.
Then whenever you watch, in his defense, when you watch LT in action, like on the board and everything, like it's just
cool.
Blurred hands.
Yeah,
I mean, like he's hitting buttons and sliding stuff. He's like, yeah, we hit that button, just all over the place.
I got swag.
Yeah. So I was like, man, this is where it's at.
Yeah,
this guy's it. And then,
hey, listen, it could have been worse. Our morning show could have been fired after 3 days.
Yeah.
So the first time I came in here, he had spaghetti the night before, and he was dropping these ransom sulfuric bombs in the air.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, this guy is the coolest guy ever. Whenever he pulled that, I said, there's no way you can get any cooler than this.
Oh, thanks.
And then one day, and I didn't realize it until after I started to see other things. I noticed how many little things I overlooked. It's like when you're in a relationship when you're really not happy, and one day you realize you're not happy, then all the little things you overlooked in the past start to come to
they come to
the
light.
surface.
Yeah.
Wow.
So at first you were like, yeah, I watch Glee, and I was like, that's cool, man. I watch some stupid stuff too. I was like, I'll let him slide on this one. And then you were like, well, I was actually in a Glee club in school, and I got shut in. I got shut in the locker, and I actually had I had chainmail underwear that wouldn't tear from the wedgies. I would get so much every day. We just invested in chainmail underwear. It caused a little chafing. I had to go to a specialist.
Yeah.
And then after a certain amount of stories, then I was just like, it's getting bad. It's getting bad.
Wow.
And then we went through the Trish thing. And I was like, I pulled Amy aside one day and I said, I think LT might be a nerd. I was like, I think he might be. It's like whenever you have that sneaking suspicion that one of your friends might be gay, you're like, I think he might be gay. I think he might be. And you let it go entirely too far.
Yeah.
Like all the time, like until you realize one day you stand back when you realize and say, I think he might be gay. It's when he's totally gay.
Yeah.
You're like, he was making out with his boyfriend in the backseat of my car the other day. I'm pretty sure he's gay. I think he might be gay. The fact that he has a boyfriend probably makes him gay. But
Okay.
anyway, getting back to you. Now, all these little things that you're dropping, like the Monopoly, the board game collecting, it's getting bad. You need to stop telling us this stuff.
Listen,
You have a responsibility to be cool.
Life.
Like my show.
Abandon it.
My show is my life. It's an open book. Absolutely.
You need to kill the old LT.
I used to be an incredible nerd, especially in high school.
Wow.
All right, let me tell you, my transformation happened when I was a sophomore in high school.
It happened already?
And shut it up.
He peaked How do you peak as a nerd?
He's about to tell us. Hold on.
Well, I went from having these huge glasses. Okay. And when I was a sophomore in high school, my mom finally decided that she was going to give me contacts. I was really glad for that.
Ask him, did the glasses have tape anywhere on them? Were they taped together?
At one point, they were.
Okay,
yes.
okay. Just making sure. Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
No, I was a total geek. I mean, seriously, and my glasses were way too big. I mean, seriously, they came halfway down my face.
They're windshield goggles.
They were windshield goggles,
Yes.
absolutely. So mom got me contacts, and that was the beginning of my transformation. Then I got my job at the coolest radio station in town. All of a sudden, everyone wanted to be my friend. All right. Then I started getting movie passes and concert tickets because in Charleston there was a lot more concerts that came in than what we're getting here. And I always had stuff. People were like, oh, yo, you give me them Katy Perry tickets? Listen, doofus, you just shoved me in a locker 2 weeks ago. I'm pretty sure you're not my friend.
So that's why you like that loser like me or whatever song so much. Because he's like,
dude, I was that guy.
You watched my car.
Yeah, I was the guy who got slushies to the face. All right, and got the what are those things? The flushy things when they dip your head in the toilet.
A swirly. Please,
I can never.
That's day one stuff. That's bully 101.
That's fine. Listen, when my head is in the toilet, I can't hear real well.
I can't hear. Hey, you can't hear everybody saying, hey, check out Larry getting a swirly.
Oh, and I hated that.
I know you hated the name Larry. That's why I call you that.
I hated that.
Let's give Lars a swirly. Let's swirl him up.
Yeah, I hated that so much. But, but yeah, I was that guy. So then I started, doing these radio gigs, and I started becoming a little bit more popular. Now to the point where I get Facebook messages from hotties like Leanne who says, you are so, with 5 O's.
5 O's.
5 O's, hot, with a winky face. Hey, sexy, please play Take Your Shirt Off by T-Pain. Have a smiley day.
Okay, look. These people are using you.
I know they still do, right?
She's buttering you up.
Can I get them Katy Perry tickets?
Okay, now I'm going to say something here, and I hope nobody's saying I think he might be gay after I make the statement. Going back to my last one.
Just for all right, let me preface this by saying,
anytime you have to preface something with, "Hey, don't take this personally," but
they're going to take it personally.
Offense, but, or I don't mean to sound this way or that way, but I never said you weren't attractive. That's all I'm saying. I just said you were a nerd.
Thank you.
Yeah. And nerds are coming back, man. This is the era of the video games and the X-Men, like all the Marvel and DC stuff coming back, coming onto movies, and I wish I could follow that.
I have
stuff.
Iron Man Monopoly as well.
See, I go watch those movies, and it's all new to me. Like, I don't know who these guys are. I'm like, who's this guy with the things coming out of his hand? Like, that's Wolverine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. I think I saw him on a Burger King cup once. That's the extent of my knowledge of comic books.
When I went to see Transformers for the first time, the entire time I'm watching the movie, I'm not enjoying the awesome graphics or the
You're trying to find
cinematography.
Discrepancies.
I'm looking for discrepancies.
This is nothing like the book.
Wow.
This is almost as bad as Twilight.
Wow.
I'm looking for discrepancies from the original cartoons.
Yeah. You're like, Edward doesn't kiss her until the next scene.